gorgeous afternoon here at Goodwin Park in Yeronga for this National Premier League's Queensland semi-final between Olympic, who finished in second spot on the ladder, and Western Pride, the reigning champions, who won the competition last year from third spot that they currently occupy in the ladder. Should be a really, really good game here this afternoon. We'll run you quickly through the teams as they stand. A couple of changes from advertised for Olympic, who managed to use their squad quite effectively over the last couple of weeks, as Ben Khan, as Olympic secure second spot with Lions running away with first. So Shane Stefanuto comes back into the team, as does Steve White, Matt Mundy, Shelford Dias and Zelfi Nazari. The only change and the only real problem being that Kieran Sanders is still out with a suspension. He'll be a big loss for Olympic. But this is a team that has won 6 in a row, or unbeaten in the league in their last 10. Coming into this game, red hot are the hosts this afternoon. As for Western Pride, they're pretty much back up to full strength. And as advertised, the only real absentee is Max Davison. He broke his leg versus Raw just 2 weeks ago, and it's still a month before he will be able to put weight back on that leg. So it's a big absence for the Pride, but Justin Weir has proven himself more than capable and more than adept at controlling the back line and getting themselves in the right position, as Olympic down to our left get themselves into position for a team photo, just waiting on the most experienced member of the squad, 38-year-old Shane Stefanuto, who of course will be known to most football fans around the country, if not the world, for his time with the Brisbane Roar and his 3 Socceroos caps. Pride going for a bit more of a traditional pre-match huddle. Sorry, we just had a magpie come up and join us on our commentary position. Nevertheless, he's going to enjoy, and he's joining a bumper crowd here at Goodwin Park. We've got the pit down to our right. They've turned up in numbers, and the rest of the support pretty much all decked out in red and white. That's the colours of Olympic, who will not be kicking off. They'll be receiving to the left of your screens. Western Pride in the green and white. Our Total Tools referee, Jason Crowe, gets things underway, and it is the Western Pride, the visitors, who finished in third spot on the ladder, the reigning champions, who kick things off from right to left. There's the captain, Jesse Rigby, getting things started, and now the ever-dangerous Dolores Toyoshime. Well for Toyoshime, who was intended to get its way through to Bird, but never got there, and Olympic just trying to get to grips with the pace early. Western Pride doing all the running. That's Dan McHenry over on that far side. He missed last week's defeat at Brisbane City. Good turn from Duckworth. Still with Duckworth, and the snapshot was a lot further wide than it looked initially. But a good early start for the visitors, and that'll get the Pride supporters, the pit down to our right-hand side, a little bit excited, and there's plenty of them. They've come with their flags, and Olympic playing with fire a little bit at the back. They tend to try and play out to their wide fullbacks. And here's Jez Lofthouse. That's lovely from Jez Lofthouse. He's been a real threat. Here is Shelford Dias. That was well defended in the end by the Pride, and they're going to have to be on top of their game, particularly in relation to young Jez Lofthouse. He's been a sensation for Olympic this season, scoring 13 goals in his 26 matches, the former Sunshine Coast junior. Hasn't scored in his last 2 though. That's something of a surprise. Olympic have scored 9 in that time. 3-0 victory here against Sunshine Coast. And a 6-2 victory against North Queensland United. Kazuya Ito is impeded. And an early notch for Kazuya Ito. Gets the better there of Adam Ndian, 21-year-old. 10 years difference in the ages, but an early opportunity now for White to put the ball in. It's a deep one, and Matt Mundy was climbing all over the back of Western Pride captain Jesse Rigby, and it'll be a free kick that, well, for all intents and purposes, may as well be a goal kick. Should be taken by Justin Weir, who's only starting his third game for Western Pride. He was thrust into the spotlight, the 19-year-old, after Max Davison broke his leg. An innocuous incident against the Raw Youth down in Logan. 5-1 victory for Western Pride, but the cost of their goalkeeper was telling, and Pride have lost their last 2 games and shipped 5 goals in the process. So hasn't been a great start for Weir, but a lot of that has been due to suspensions as well. But back at full strength now, you'd have to say, for Pride at the back, in the form of Will McFarlane, Dan McHenry, Cab Crestani, and Delors Turishime, who has also been very impressive, for former Holland Park Hawk. Rigby just heads that ball on. Did that ball go out? The Pride's supporters certainly think it did, and that was a situation that was agreed upon by our assistant referee on this near side. And now it's the turn of Western Pride to kick things out from the back. Flicked on by Pengelly, and it's a good opportunity for Bird, but Pride can't quite get their foot on the ball up top, and Olympic are very, very capable at the back. We talk a lot about how impressive Lions' defence has been, but it's a solid collision there, and there's a goal kick in the end. We talk a lot about how impressive Lions' defence has been, and it has been, conceding less than a goal a game. Olympics hasn't been all that much worse. They've conceded just 1 goal per game, 26, the second best record in the league. And they've lost just 2 matches, Olympic. It's the draws that have hurt them in terms of winning the Premiership. They've drawn 5, which is the most. Alternatively, Western Pride have not drawn a single game. The only team other than Lions without a draw this year. And said that, the Pride have conceded the most defeats of all the top 4 with 7, so it's not really the form that you want going into finals, particularly when 4 of those defeats have come in the last 9 games and 2 of them in the last 2. Shock defeat against Redlands United, which secured National Premier League's Queensland football for the Cleveland-based side for another year. The one against Brisbane City team, just hunting for a little bit of pride of their own. Here's Jez Lofthouse as support. It's gone all the way back to Kristen Waters, and Waters switches it to Kazuya Ito. Ito rises that challenge from Bird. Now it's out to Costa Pizarros. Pizarros shows it to Torishime. Goes around the outside, and now it's Torishime's turn to do the same after that ball was blocked on its way through by McFarlane. McFarlane wants it back and sends it, squeezes through to Jesse Rigby, and now is Jacob in net. Decent ball, it held up slightly in the wind, and the wind is strong. You might hear it on the sound effects, Mike, as Torishime does well to win that ball back off Costa Pizarros. Pride having the majority of the possession so far here in Yeronga at Goodwin Park. Stefanuto just getting enough of a touch to take it off the head of Andrew Pengelly, who's notched 14 goals this season, the 21-year-old. Here's the golden boot for Pride's under-20 side, the current carnation as Mooney plays with 5N, asking a lot of Stefanuto, but Stefanuto's been alert to that, and he's been good this year, Stefanuto. Saros inside to White, former Mariner. Now it's the bearded figure of Kristen Waters, intimidating figure at the back. He's played all 26 matches for Olympic this season and been a real rock in the process, former Wynnum Wolf. Spent a year at Ace as well, did Waters, that's been at Olympics since 2017 and become a real key figure in the heart of defence. Often plays in the heart of the 3. Leaves Mooney a little bit short there, particularly in relation to Mitchell Bird, but helped upfield and mopped up by Jesse Rigby. Crestani takes Lofthouse out of the game. That's good football from Pride. Dan McHenry over on that far side. McHenry tries to thread it through to Mitchell Bird, and it'll be a Western Pride throw. This has been a fantastic start from the visitors. Olympic have hardly had the ball. Will be pleasing Reg Devani. We mentioned in the pre-game the Pride did win the championship last year from third spot on the ladder. They pulled off not quite a surprise victory, but certainly against the odds, you'd say, against Gold Coast City down on the Gold Coast on Saturday night. Tight encounter, that one, and then hosted the grand final against Moreton Bay United, and that could happen this season as well. Stefanuto squeezes that brilliantly through to Lofthouse, and Lofthouse is dangerous when he's got space to run into, and all he needed to do was take it past Jacob Minette to bear down on where Cam Crestani was waiting to greet him. Crestani did enough, and Olympic are forced all the way over to this side now with Kazuya Ito to Saros. That's good work. Really good work by Dolores Toyoshima. He's been fantastic this year. That left knee heavily strapped. It's worth mentioning, but it doesn't seem to be causing him too many problems early. And he is certainly, and as far as you can tell these things in the first few minutes, got the measure of Costa Psaros. And Ian, under a lot of pressure from Delphin Azari, and Jason Crowe spots that. That was... Last season was the first time Western Pride had made the finals in their history. They have a perfect record in the finals, played 2-1-2. And that is the same record that Olympic have in home finals. They have played 2 home finals here at Goodwin Park, both in 2013. They won both of them. Semi-final against Strikers, which they won by 2-0. Around on the edge of the penalty area. It's forced all the way back to Crestani. A phenomenal grand final, 3-3 it finished. How's that for a ball from Crestani to McHenry? It's a header back across the face of goal. Still there is it for Western Pride, and Duckworth can't get enough on it, and it's hacked clear by Olympic. They'll breathe a big sigh of relief, because that was a real warning shot from Western Pride, and that's a firm tackle but fair tackle by Jacob Minette. And Alex Smith is pleading for a free kick and does eventually get one from Jason Crowe. Stefanuto helps it over to Psaros. That's a glorious ball from Stefanuto right onto the chest of Costa Psaros. Psaros wants an option, forced to chip it over the top towards White. White's going to thread the needle for Smith. What a tackle that was! Brilliant stuff from the Western Pride. It was a lovely ball forward from White right into the path of Alex Smith, a defence-splitting pass. But how about that tackle? That's a goal saver right there. An end-to-end stuff here in the early stages here at Goodwin Park in this first National Premier League Queensland semi-final, and then a little bit untidy. I think it was more the jump from Dan McHenry, but put himself into a spot of danger, but Jason Crowe blew the whistle and gave the obligatory free kick in those situations in favour of the Western Pride, just in order to stop play and allow McHenry to get some attention if required. But the New Zealand-born Australian is able to get back to his feet relatively quickly and isn't showing too many ill effects, where he's just rubbing the side of his head now, slightly off camera. Jesse Rigby having a footwear malfunction, just helping this ball upfield now was Weir over Rigby's head. Been an Olympic throw-in on this near side. As we were mentioning, Olympic have won their previous 2 home finals, but their overall record in finals is played 5-1-3. It's in the National Premier League's Queensland. Minette picks up the ball in a little bit of space. There's no room for him to shoot though, and goes wide to McHenry. Minette once more. Bengali rather lunged in. Pride keep the ball. Rigby now to Ashime. Ashime allowed to cut back inside. Heavy touch from Duckworth, but it's worked out for him. Minette could go wide, can't squeeze the ball through, and Olympic will break now, and Dan McHenry is out of position. And should the ball end up that way, could be problems for Olympic, but speaking of out of position, just Lofthouse had just drifted inside, and that meant that Zelfin Nazari was out there and couldn't quite get the wheels turning fast enough. Free kick is given though in favour of Olympic. Crestani getting a little bit of a speaking to from Jason Crowe. Can be a combustible figure. Crestani, the former Raw man, played 3 times in the A-League. Here's Kazoi Ito. Psaros. It comes off. Delors to Ashime, and it'll be another corner for Olympic. That's their second. And Steve White will be getting plenty of advice about where he can put this corner, you'd expect, from the pit. All good-natured, I'm sure. Olympic do have a tendency to go short with their corners. They set up in a bit of a line. They haven't done so this time, but do still go short to Ito, wide to White, changing the angle. That's a good ball by White, and it needed the head of McHenry just to help it to safety with Smith lurking. And Olympic will set up again for their 3rd corner of the day on the other side of the field. And Steve White it is, who will just trot over to take that one. Was the Central Coast Mariner captain in their academy, Steve White, moving to the States and playing in Seattle Sounders' 2nd team, United Soccer League. That was a slightly miscued corner. That could allow Mitchell Bird to have an opportunity now if he can get past Zelfi Nazari, but Nazari does very well. Concedes the free kick. Didn't look like there was all that much in that. And that was certainly the view of the big crowd here at Goodwin Park. You won't be able to see it on your screens, but just beneath us in the grandstand, we're on the roof here at Goodwin Park. You can hear the crowd, and you could really see the crowd swelling. They're still rolling in, actually, from the car park, which you can see on your screens. At the moment, they haven't had all that much to cheer about. It's still 0-0, but Western Pride have been making the most of the running as Lofthouse and McHenry tangle up, and Lofthouse concedes a free kick. It's been a fairly frequent tune so far being blown from Jason Crowe's whistle. I can't imagine that will keep the locals all that happy, but they'll be a little bit more pleased with this from Steve White. Tried to thread the needle through to Diaz though, and Delors Tuashime was there to read the play, and now Crestani gives it away. As you mentioned, McHenry was absent last week in that 3-2 defeat to Kansas City. It was an entertaining game. We hope you enjoyed it. And you remember a few weeks further back when Pride lost by the same scoreline to the new Premier's Lions out at Briggs Road. That was a fantastic game as well. So hopefully we'll get a 3rd brilliant encounter in a row featuring the Western Pride. That'll help. Lovely ball through to Mitchell Bird. Bird will try and cut inside. Can't get the ball under control though, and it was well read by Waters. And Waters calmly and confidently gets that ball out with the help of Nazari and Kazoi Ito. And Ito now spreads the ball wide to Shane Stefanuto, and Olympic will clear the danger. Has been a good start for Pride, but the tempo has slightly gone out of the game this early start. It is quite warm down there. The wind will play a role. It's really gusting rather in our faces, so not really in favour of either team, although probably slightly in favour of Olympic as things stand. Diagonally from the top left to the bottom right of your screen. Kazoi Ito has picked up the ball now. Here's Nazari. Psaros is wide, but Nazari chooses to go back to Waters instead. Waters didn't get hold of that properly, but it'll still find its way through to Jez Lofthouse. Stefanuto. All the way back now to Matt Mundy, who's wearing the captain's armband today for Olympic. has a lot of space, and now Jez Lofthouse has even more. Right. They've been giving Jez Lofthouse a little bit of space, and as they have done with Costa Pissarros, but that ball didn't get to Pissarros, and it's an opportunity now for Mitchell Bird to break. Uses for support of Duckworth. And Bird got caught there by Stefanuto. Nothing doing, says referee Crow. Stefanuto back in his defensive position, and Bird is back on his feet. It is a free kick now, though, from a similar position. A dangerous position as well for Olympic. They'll need to be on their guard. Stefanuto's just giving some directions to where he thinks this free kick should be taken from, or at least where Jez Lofthouse should be to stop the free kick being taken while Olympic are setting themselves up. And Stefanuto, as you'd expect with all his experience directing traffic, instructing his teammates to pick up their men. It's helped in, it's a teasing one just in front of Mooney, but with no Pride player willing to take too much of a gamble, including Jesse Rigby, who was closest in the number 6 jersey for the Pride, the captain. It's a bit of a let-off for Olympic. Still goalless here at Goodwin Park. Pissarros does well to keep that one in, but perhaps may have wished he hadn't. Here's Minette. It's going to open up for Minette, is he? Tried to slide it through to Pengelly when perhaps a shot would have been on. May as well try these things early in these games. It was Dias who couldn't quite get control of the ball there. Pride will once again look to build from the back. It has been Pride with the majority of possession, you'd have to say, so far, and they've made the most of the running, but can't keep Olympic down for too long. Olympic, of course, will be desperate for another opportunity to take on Lions, who play Moreton Bay United in the second of the semi-finals. Rafe Griffin will be your man at the Lion Richlands this evening for that one. 7 o'clock kickoff, live on the Football Queensland Facebook page. You can go there from the website as well. So we just watched Jez Lofthouse do his trickery and get that ball in. It went out just as Pissarros was willing to pull the trigger. Never got to him in the end anyway. It was a good header from Adam and Dean just to take it off line for Pissarros. Yes, it's Rafe Griffin bringing you all the action from the Lion Richlands in the second semi-final. Lions against Moreton Bay United. You can watch it via www.footballqueensland.com.au/live. And that'll take you to all the live streams, including the one that starts at 4 o'clock. Darren Lutton will be your man at Lions. He'll be directing you through as the women's team take on the NTC Raw team for the right to face the Gap in the grand final. Of course, make sure you follow Football Queensland on social media as well, Instagram and Twitter at FootballQLD, and Football Queensland is the thing you need to search for, as McHenry mistimes that slide, and that allows Lofthouse a little bit of an opportunity. It's come back to Lofthouse via Smith. Strong challenge there by Steve White, fairly, said Jason Crow, our Total Tools referee. It's come back to White now. Just challenged by Minette. Right, just let that one bobble up over his head for Stefanuto. Lofthouse. Wide now to Dias. Dias to Ito. Ito slides it through. Costa Pissarros and Jez Lofthouse both had a swing and both made a right hash of it. And that's the best opportunity so far for Olympic. Could be bettered though this time. Nazari just can't get there, and Justin Weir will grab it gratefully into his arms and play the ball upfield to Pengelly, who wins the free kick. Shane Stefanuto just suggesting that shouldn't have been given in favour of Western Pride. He's spoken himself into the book on a few occasions as the Pride dally a little bit too much. White plays it to Smith. Smith goes too wide, though, to Dias. Dias is going to squeeze it back inside, but can only find the Western Pride captain, who gives it straight back to Dias. White wants it on the edge of the area. So did Smith, and Smith was most likely, but he couldn't squeeze it through, and Smith hangs his head and flings his arms out by his side. He knew that was a golden opportunity, and Olympic are really getting back into this game now. Lovely ball by Dias. That was way too far ahead of White, though. That won't improve his temper, the former Wellington Phoenix star. And it will be a goal kick to Western Pride, and they have managed to deal with that flurry of pressure from Olympic, and they'll be sighing deeply after that one, because the danger was real, the threat was real. They managed to deal with it. It's still goalless here at Goodwin Park. Really untidy there, but Steve White wins the free kick. Could have gone any which way as Ben Khan rolls the ball back to the centre circle. Stefanuto will help it through to Waters. Beard has got quite impressive over the course of the season from Kristen Waters. Making himself look even more intimidating at the back there. Saris made a good run through the middle there and split the centre-backs from Western Pride. Could have been dangerous. Kazuya Ito rides that challenge. Crow belatedly blows his whistle and gets a good spray from Cam Crestani for his troubles after doing so. Did look like a foul, it has to be said, because Ito looked like he got completely clattered. A little bit of miscommunication. Jez Lofthouse leaving it for Stefanuto, who wasn't planning on making that run. Perhaps would have benefited from a touch, and it will be a throw-in over on that far side. We mentioned the beautiful conditions. The wind is howling, but it is still quite warm down there on pitch level, and that might affect the players. Most of them not used to playing in the sunlight. Most of the time it's been evenings and under lights through the National Premier League's Queensland this season across the winter. The cold winter months. Those of you around the country won't believe me when I tell you it does get cold up here in Queensland, or at least suggest that we're a little bit soft for thinking that anything below 20 is worth putting a jumper on for. Here's Bird, squeezes that ball through. Bird receives it back though, and it took a touch. There was a hand there, but I'm not quite sure what Waters would have been able to do with it, or was it Kazuya Ito who managed to get that ball smashed into his hand from Zelfi Nazari. A corner is the decision anyway, and it needed to be made, that intervention, because I have a feeling that Mitchell Bird was just about to pull the trigger. And in this topsy-turvy game, it's topsy-turvy semi-final between second and third spot in the National Premier League Queensland. It's Pride who suddenly regained the ascendancy, but that might change now with Jez Lofthouse, and Jez Lofthouse will go past Lils Toyoshima, who may have an opportunity to take Jez Lofthouse out. He did have an opportunity, and he's going to pick up a yellow card for his troubles, because he did use his body to get in the way of Lofthouse, and that's an exciting challenge between those two young players. It's our first yellow card of the day, shown by Total Tools referee Jason Crow, but with Lofthouse and Toyoshima both running after the ball at that pace, just gives you an indication of just how quick Jez Lofthouse is. He has got gas, the youngster from the Sunshine Coast, and Dolores Toyoshima is one of the faster members of the Western Pride team, and Lofthouse breezed past him there, forced the foul. White will deliver from the free kick. It's a teasing one. Crestani helps it up, to the delight of the pit. Bird does well. There's nobody upfield for Pride though, and Kazuya Ito has plenty of time to lay that ball off to Matt Mundy, who will look to build from the back, and like a quarterback, surveys his options. Goes lateral if we're continuing with that to Ito. Now forward to Wyatt, but White helped it on a little bit too strenuously towards Nazari and trickled all the way through to Justin Weir, who will now assess his own options before launching this ball deep towards where Joe Duckworth's going to jump with Matt Mundy. Mundy getting the better of that contest on this occasion. Untidy from Olympic, giving the ball away in the midfield. It's untidy from both teams, both causing a number of turnovers. Need to be a bit careful, Kristen Waters and Matt Mundy almost getting themselves into a spot of bother there. All's well that ends well. Mundy comes up with the ball now. Tried to play it through to Jez Lofthouse. Stefanuto mopping up. Stefanuto's pulled up a little bit sore from that one as he helped it upfield. Keep our eye on that. Diagonal ball across to Bird. It's fallen for Bird here. Needs support. Gets it. That's a great challenge from Costa Passaros. It's gone back to Endine. Now Rigby. Rigby wide to Minette. McHenry. Minette. Minette's going to chip it in. It's a pretty ordinary ball, to be honest. Mitchell Bird had gone near post. That chip was waiting to put it on Bird's chest, and fortunately for Pride, it's been mopped up fairly comfortably by the home team, who need to pick their game up a little bit if they're to go with form and confirm a spot in the final for the first time since 2014. Been in the grand final twice, have Olympic, winning the competition in 2013 when they were premiers as well. They won that final on penalties against Brisbane City after the game finished 3-3. They won 3-0 on penalties. And then they lost in the 2014 grand final 3-2 to Palm Beach, formerly known as Gold Coast City, and of course now went out the league at the end of last year. Mundy picks up the pace a little, laid off by Smith. Lofthouse wanted to pull the trigger, but he was well dealt with by McHenry. Just pushed off balance, and now Minette is going to try and thread that ball through to Mitchell Bird. Bird was offside, continued his run anyway, presumably because he knew he wasn't going to get there and was hoping for a mistake from Mooney, but our assistant over on that far side was alert to that, and the flag went up. It's a good header from Toyoshime. Duckworth couldn't flick it through to Bird, but it might find its way through to him now. Mundy with another good header, composed out to Ito, who gets that one caught under his feet. Again, it's a little bit untidy. The wind perhaps playing its factor here. They seem to be struggling a little with the conditions, but apart from the wind, it is absolutely beautiful up here. Up here on the roof anyway, it looks just as nice down on pitch level. Gorgeous spring sunshine here as we tick over into September. September football, is there anything better? Stefanuto. Smith was off balance before that ball came to him. He tried to disguise it by looking for a free kick, but nothing doing. Crestani gets the ball out towards Bird. Mooney was flirting with the outside of his area there. Showed good balance, the former Far North Queensland Heat man. Here's Crestani mopping up things at the back once again for Pride. Pride have had the better of things, and they do so again down that right-hand side through McHenry. McHenry putting in a good cross. It's just over the head of Pengelly. Helped back inside by Duckworth, and didn't quite work out for the Pride that. That's a good tackle from Toyoshime on Passaros, and it will free up now for a shot from Bird, but maybe the less said about that, the better. It was always going wide of the target. He really leant back and just had a swing. Just really curling it into the top corner would have been a better option. Should Western Pride prevail in this encounter, they will join their under-18s and under-20s in their respective grand finals. those under-20s semi-finals taking place yesterday, and they will be taking on Brisbane City in both age groups. So both Brisbane City and Western Pride proving that their youth development pathway is working out, and there's a fair few players in the senior team today who've come through the development National Premier League's pathways at the Pride. Josh Wilson, who's sitting on the bench, was one of the inaugural under-14 players, and there's been a number who've played through the Pride youth ranks over the course of the last 6 years. That was a clever ball from Kazuya Ito. It was cut out. It was cut out well by Will McFarlane. It needed to be made, that intervention, otherwise could be talking about the opening goal of this game. We're still waiting for that though. What can Jez Lofthouse do to change that fact? Nothing much when he's up against Dan McHenry. He's done well since coming back into the side, Dan McHenry, after missing out last week. Still unable to really string a few passes together. Perhaps a couple of nerves coming into this game for these two teams. Olympic were in a golden position last season, if you recall, to get themselves into the finals, and really rather blew it. But here's an opportunity now for Bird. Casaros doing just enough after Bird did well to take the ball past Ito. Waters playing with fire there. Tried to squeeze a pass through to Steve White where it really wasn't on. White did well to get the ball back. It was mopped up by Mooney. It's just a lack of quality in the final third from both teams at the moment. That's still in. Here's Minette. It's going to open up for Minette. Minette's going to curl one. They're getting closer, Western Pride. That was an intelligent shot from Minette. Didn't put too much power on it, and I think Mooney had it covered. Nevertheless, just guided it through instead of going for power, just as his colleague Bird did just before. He got a little bit closer. What will Olympics' response be? Kazuya Ito has Pasaris on the outside. Pasaris is going to look to swing this into Deus, but it doesn't get there. McFarlane again there to intervene. Handball is the call against Joe Duckworth, but not according to Jason Crowe. Will continue play up this near touch line. Duckworth gets it back from Endin. Now here's an opportunity for Pengelly, and that's even beaten the protective netting behind the goal and gone into the sewage works here. Got right underneath that one. Would have been a cracking point in Gaelic. Well, that's not the game we're playing here today. Western Pride are on top here. A team that have lost their last 2 games, 4 of their last 9 in attempts to get their title defence. They lost both times to Olympic as well in the league, both in round 2 and round 15. It was 3-2 out at Briggs Road. Dylan Wenzel-Halls scored twice, both from the penalty spot, after Kristen Waters scored a rare goal, just one of 2 he scored this season. Adam Edgar, who of course is now at Brisbane City. And Jed Lofthouse getting the other 2 there for Olympic. It was Edgar who got the winner. In that case, as the ball's spread through, here's an opportunity now for Duckworth, and Western Pride get the lead! It has been coming! And Joe Duckworth, with his 16th goal of the season, has put the reigning champions in pole position here in the first semi-final. It's been good football from Western Pride. They've been dominating the game so far, and they deserve their lead here at Goodwin Park. It's Olympic 0, Western Pride 1. Joe Duckworth gesturing towards the pit, who responded, as you'd expect, to going ahead here at Goodwin Park in a semi-final. There's such fantastic supporters Western Pride, who had a bad couple of weeks, taken the lead against an Olympic side that don't look quite themselves. Ben Khan had played a couple of debutants last week. Perhaps the players that missed out are perhaps a little bit rusty and a little bit sluggish in coming out the traps here. They haven't really been on top of their game. We know the way they can play. A team that have won 19 games this season, only lost twice. So certainly not write them off yet, the hosts. Still a long, long way to go in this one. 10 minutes or so to go before the break. The Olympic will look to hit back long before that. Here's Kazuya Ito. Good control from him on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, sorry, you see it. Pizarros through to Zelfi Nazari. Nazari can't get his foot around that one, and that's greeted with a chorus of cheers from the pit just in front of where Nazari miscued that cross. And they will be the happier of the supporters, and Reg Devani will be the happier of the managers so far. You'd have to say Olympic have not been on top of their game so far, and Western Pride are well worth their lead. Can happen here from Mitchell Bird. Bird linking up well with Duckworth. Duckworth still, it's Pengelly. Front three doing very well for Western Pride, but Jez Lofthouse squeezes that one inside to Diaz. Diaz to Pizarros. There's 3 Olympic players on this near side. Smith moves inside. Pizarros wanted to go wide, then got caught in 2 minds, and both players were suddenly unavailable to him, and he's been caught out by Jesse Rigby. It's good defence from Western Pride, but a little bit of indecision from Costa Pizarros. And that cost Olympic another promising attempt at Western Pride goal. Just a little bit too far ahead of Smith. In order to do anything in this game, Western Pride are going to have to keep a clean sheet, and they've only kept 2 clean sheets away from home this season. One of those did come against Lions though, so can do it against the big teams. They also failed to concede against Redlands United. They can't be giving the ball away like that. And here's Shane Stefanuto showing a burst of pace. Stefanuto going to have a shot, of course not. And then it just didn't quite go all the way through. It is a corner kick. Eventually the decision being made by Jason Crow. Stefanuto, the way he burst onto that ball, you almost had visions of former Raw man absolutely levering one into the top corner. Instead he chose to thread the needle through towards where Smith and Diaz were waiting, but the corner is the upshot. That's a better one, but headed straight back out by Duckworth, whose goal separates the 2 sides here at Goodwin Park. Pride leading by a goal to 0. That's a better, deeper corner. Smith rises highest. It's off the chest of Jacob Minette, who is ideally placed. That's why you leave someone on the post. Brilliant header from Smith. Olympics so close, that close to hitting straight back. They do from here. Corner, another deep one. Goes deep towards Mundy. Mundy in a bit of a tangle with his opposite captain, Jesse Rigby. Nazari. Mundy. Dolores Torishime wanted the throw-in and gets the throw-in off Matt Mundy. And there's a few accusationary shouts coming from those in red and white now. He gets himself out of trouble there against a strong challenge from Diaz. Now McHenry. There goes our sound effects mic in the wind here. Stefanuto on the burst. That's excellent work from Stefanuto. Now to Lofthouse. Lofthouse spreads the ball wide to Psaros. Psaros wants to cut back inside. Stefanuto, Lofthouse. Still there for Lofthouse against Crestani. Stefanuto again onto the head of Diaz. It's going to be gathered though by Weir. Stefanuto grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck over the last few moments. And that's what you want from your experienced players. Has to be said, most of Olympics team aren't really standing up as of yet. Here's Jez Lofthouse. What can he do? Great tackle from McHenry. Doesn't get all of it though. Lofthouse able to retain possession. White tried to chip that ball into Diaz, but tried to break things up, and now the ball's played through towards Bird, but it's far too far ahead of him. Mundy shepherds it out. It'll be a goal kick. Quickly, Olympic looking to get things moving. The majority of the crowd here starting to get a little bit nervous, though there is so much time remaining in this contest. But as things stand, it'll be Western Pride who'll be going through to take on either Lions or Moreton Bay United in the big dance. We could yet see a repeat of last year's grand final, that magnificent grand final out west at Briggs Road. I don't think there'll be too many people who would be disappointed to see that particular matchup again, although Moreton Bay United playing slightly differently this time. It's a yellow card for Matt Mundy. He must have led with his elbow perhaps on that one. I think Shane Stefanuto is just asking perhaps for some clarification from Jason Crowe there. But a good opportunity again for Western Pride to get this ball into a dangerous area. Tall men have gone forward. And Rigby. It's flicked on at that near post by Pengelly, and it wasn't all that far away. Stefanuto back to Mooney. Mooney's been closed down. Mooney had to hurry that one and did really well to squeeze it out towards Elfi Nazari. Here's Psaros. Ito. Delos Toshime's gone down. He's just limping coming up from that ill-advised slide. Lovely control off a lovely ball from Kazoi Ito by Jez Lofthouse. Smith. Lofthouse wants it back. Smith cuts inside instead. White. Back to Mundy. Waters. Psaros. Kazoi Ito on the overlap, but it's behind him. Ito does well with what he's got. Psaros picks it up again. White. Glorious ball out wide to Stefanuto. First time inside to Lofthouse. Lofthouse in dangerous areas now. Flicks that ball through. Will McFarlane gets there. It's still there for Olympic Bow. Steve White had no power on that one. I think he was hoping for Alex Smith to perhaps dive forward and get ahead to it, but can't quite do so. And that's half time here at Goodwin Park, and it's been a perfect first half from Western Pride. They have really been the better of the two sides. Olympic make their way off the field. Stefanuto leaves a few words on the field. Not quite sure what they were directed at or who towards, but it's he who makes his way off the field first. And Western Pride will certainly be the happier of the two sides here at Goodwin Park. They lead the team that finished above them in the table by a 1-0, and it was a fine strike from Joe Duckworth in the 35th minute of the game. Olympic have had a couple of opportunities, but other than that, they've been well repelled and well dealt with by Western Pride, who, it has to be said, have probably had the better of the opportunities. What can Ben Khan do in order to change things up and really get Olympic firing? There's 45 minutes left of one of these two sides' seasons. We hope you'll be able to join us for the second 45 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these short messages. believe it? Can you believe it?
Over the top of Hepburn and Souths have scored.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Football is my favourite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Caltex Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kick-off program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others.
My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
We make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini-Roos ambassadors.
Wow, it's Archie Thompson. He's a legend.
and Steph Natlick from the Westfield Matildas. She is amazing.
Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day, even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Football is my favourite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Caltex Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kickoff program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others.
My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
We make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini-Roos ambassadors.
Wow, it's Archie Thompson. He's a legend. And Steph Natley from the Westfield Matildas. She is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
Can you believe it? Over the top of Hepburn and Souths have scored.
welcome back to Goodwin Park. If you've just joined us, it's the visitors and reigning champions Western Pride who lead the hosts by 1-0, and it was Joe Duckworth who got that goal in the 35th minute of the game. And I have to say, they probably deserved their lead at the break. I think Olympic need to get themselves up for this second half, and I dare say Ben Khan would have been telling his team that in the sheds at half-time. They've won 6 in a row, have Olympic, to see out the rest of the regular season, and have been unbeaten in the league in their last 10, so they know how to win. They've only been beaten twice all year in the league. But oddly enough, they don't have as good a record at home as they have away. They've drawn 3 of the 5 games they've drawn and lost 1 here at Goodwin Park of the 13 games. They have kept 7 clean sheets, though, out of the 10 that they've managed. So obviously that's not going to happen in this first semi-final, the second of which, of course, will be coming up at 7 o'clock. Dan McHenry goes forward, now plays that ball through towards Pengelly, too far ahead of him, though, and is really easily dealt with in the end by Nick Mooney. Second semi-final between Lions and Moreton Bay United at 7 o'clock. Rafe Griffin will be bringing you that one. Let's hope that second semi-final is just as full of intrigue and action as this first one here from Goodwin Park. If you're so inclined, of course, women's football coming right up now on an alternative stream. Join Darren Lutton for Lions against Aurora NTC if you're interested. That's a good strong tackle from Stefanuto against Andrew Pengelly. I think Stefanuto enjoyed that. Andrew Pengelly just asking our Total Twos officiating team why that wasn't a foul. The simple fact is because it was a good tackle. Should suffice. Here's Matt Mundy. Side to Steve Wyatt, has to go back to Waters. Western Pride, who have lost their last 2 matches in the league, have come out firing in this one, and as we've said, probably did deserve their lead at the break, but they'll have to deal with what you'd expect to be something of an onslaught from Olympic in this second half. There are options on the bench for Olympic. Got Danny Byrne, the Olympic legend, really. I think he's earned that status over the last few years that he's been at the club. Well over 100 matches in the National Premier League's Queensland from the Liverpudlian. James Kumineo as well hasn't scored a goal, but depth at shoring up that midfield, though have looked pretty good. There's the cries of handball. Psaros unmoved, as is our Total Tools referee Jason Crow. Psaros gets that cross in. Oh, it's spilled, is it? Initially by Justin Weir. Alex Smith was alert to the fact that the ball popped out and flung his foot into a dangerous area, but nothing doing, and poor Andrew Pengelly's copped another hard knock. Again, looked fairly legitimate as a tackle as far as things go. Here's Nazari trying to thread the ball through to Lassam. It's back to Nazari though. Here's Kazuya Ito. Lofthouse. Still Lofthouse! Just ran away from him at the last moment. Still with Olympic though, and Costa Psaros, but Costa Psaros can't get that ball away from Dan McHenry, and had more than a handful of shirt, and Costa Psaros isn't getting a talking to. It's Steve White who gets spoken to by Jason Crow. Costa Psaros sheepishly wandering into the middle, and he just holds a hand up, Costa Psaros, to Alex Smith, who's, interestingly enough, just feeling his knee. Again, we'll keep our eye on that one. It's been a long season, 26 games in this expanded National Premier League's Queensland, 14 teams for the first time in a few years, to 12 teams last year. It's been a very, very good season. If you've joined us on the live stream throughout the season, hope you've enjoyed it. Also plays that one off the back of Andrew Pengelly, who's copped a few in the last few moments of this second half. Waters goes upfield. Lofthouse goes down, and another late whistle from Jason Crowe, but more difficult to see from where we are. You'd have to say it's probably a fair call. Something of a slight worry for Western Pride. Dolores Tuashime's gone down, and we've mentioned that his left knee is heavily strapped. He's just limping back into position now. We'll keep our eyes on that one as well. A few players we need to watch. Everyone on the field is a danger for both sides. Stefanuto, good long ball forward towards Smith. It's hacked clear though. Stefanuto coaching the ball boys. And they need the ball quickly, and Olympic do need the ball quickly. They need to play an up-tempo game in order to get something from this match. Zari made a little run down the middle there, but that wasn't the intended target of that ball through. Diaz. Lofthouse, and now once again Diaz, but Weir does well to stretch out and gather that one. He'll be a busy man, you'd expect, in this second half, this final 45 minutes for one of these two sides this season, unless, of course, we're all square after the regulation 90, in which case we will have a standard 15 minutes each way of extra time as the ball's given away by Waters uncharacteristically. Here's Duckworth just over the top. What an opportunity for Western Pride to get their second. A real error at the back by Christian Waters. And they were so close to scoring now, but there's concern being shown for Dolores Tuashime, who's gone down again. That's not good news you wouldn't expect for Western Pride. Just a reminder, of course, that on the 29th of September, the South East Queensland Futsal Premier League, the SEQFPL, which isn't a mouthful at all, kicks off next month. It's the state's best junior and senior futsal players from Orana United, Bundaberg Wildcats, Galaxy FC, Moreton Bay Futsal, Redlands United and Sunshine Coast Wave. It's a 10-week home and away season. And then we'll have the final series for that in early December. For more information, visit footballqueensland.com.au, where you can find all the information about the final series and the National Premier League's Queensland and Football Queensland Premier League. As Dolores Tuashime makes his way off the field, we are going to see that substitution being made. And the Rwandan 23-year-old, born in Tanzania, is being replaced. And how will young Josh Wilson cope with the ever-dangerous Jez Lofthouse? That's going to be a key factor in this second half, you would expect. Minette just dallies a little bit on that ball and is flattered for his troubles by Steve White. It's a Western Pride throw-in though. Western Pride not in too much hurry to take this. It's a long time to go if we're going to start wasting time now, but I'm quite sure that is what Dan McHenry is planning on doing. Monday, Pissarros does well to put that into space for White, and now Olympic are going to break. Pissarros gets a helping hand from Smith. Nazari, well cut out by McFarlane. But here's our first test for Josh Wilson. Lofthouse. Wilson's got support from Bird. Kazuya Ito. Lofthouse has gone again, but Ito's going to crab across field. Now play the ball inside to Smith. Smith wants an option, doesn't have a readily available option other than to give it to Nazari. Nazari was upset that he didn't get it initially and then lost focus, and well, you saw the result. And that's sloppy from Zelfi Nazari, the West Australian from Balcatta. Played half a century of games out in the West in the WA NPL, and that's sloppy from Wilson. You can't be giving the ball away there, not to a player of Alex Smith's quality. But Smith, in his eagerness getting the ball, managed to concede a foul. I'm sure Josh Wilson will breathe a sigh of relief, and straight out into the fire, into the heat of battle. Another loose ball. Minette does well. Minette was caught in possession and a little bit fortunate, I think, to win a free kick in that situation. Here's an opportunity for Duckworth. Plays the ball through, and the slide was from Bird. Mooney did well to come out and snuff out the danger, but Western Pride are not resting on their 1-0 lead. Stefanuto back to Mooney. Mooney has to put that one right into the heart of the pit, who receive it with open arms, and you see Jacob Minette firing up the crowd. I don't think they need firing up, they're red hot already. Oh, I'll tell you what, that's a decision that needs to be made by Jason Crowe. Matt Mundy was all over the top of Joe Duckworth. There's not much in it, it has to be said, but the pit were interested. Having said that, I think the pit would be interested in just about anything that Western Pride do at the moment. They're a fantastic group of supporters. They're making themselves heard here today. Excellent work from Shelford-Deas there. And now a little bit of push and shove now. Minette's involved, so's White. So's Dan McHenry. Shane Stefanuto just giving his side of events. It'll be a throw-in, but Stefanuto will take. Jason Crowe just having a word with Steve White, but you get a sense that that might help fire up Olympic and get themselves back into this game. Crestani. Mundy goes over the top of Duckworth, and if that's a free kick there, I'll leave the question unasked. And either way you look at it, you'd probably say it was just a contest for the ball. Certainly for my mind, the one in the penalty area looked a little bit more worthy of being penalised than that, but we do see different standards applied in different areas of the pitch on occasion. You would have heard the response of the crowd as well. They weren't impressed, the largely partisan crowd here at Olympic, although it is the pit are making themselves, giving a good account of themselves despite being slightly outnumbered. Here is Steve White. Goes wide to Kazuya Ito. Lofthouse has made a run. It's Lofthouse who does receive the ball. That was well timed by McFarlane, but Ito puts the ball in and it's off the head of the defender. I think Dan McHenry, yes. Corner is given. Lovely ball inside from Kazuya Ito. One 30-year-old to another. Alex Smith gets his head to that ball, but good defence once more from Western Pride. They're having to put their backs up against the wall for the moment. Weir came and flapped, perhaps unnecessarily. The ball looked like it was going all the way through. A tricky one just pops all the way in from Delphin Azari. Stefanuto now will help it in towards Smith, who made the run. It was well watched and well dealt with by McFarlane, and now will Western Pride break. It's 3-on-3 at the back, a fourth arriving for Olympic and Steve White, but it was a poor ball inside by Pengelly towards Duckworth, and now Olympic will break again. Here's Lofthouse up against Wilson. He smelt a weakness and has tried to exploit it. Lofthouse gets his skates on, but he was shepherded out by Adam Endine. That's good defending, good football all round really from both players over on that far side. It'll be a goal kick. Olympic in finishing second. Finished in their highest league position since 2014 when they were premiers and champions. Shelford-Deas can't get hold of that one, and the Pride will clear up field. Ito, that's helped on though towards Bird by Duckworth. Pengelly's in the middle. Duckworth can't get the ball through to him. It'll be a corner anyway. Is Cam Crestani gonna go up for this? I think he won't, but every single Olympic player is making their way down to defend. A 2-goal deficit in the second half will be much less appealing for obvious reasons. Barely doesn't need saying almost. Minette will curl this one in. The wind howling into his face. That'll help this ball get swept in. Pizarros heads it straight up in the air. Now there's a bundle of bodies all going for this one. Olympic do clear. It's held back inside. They have to be offside, don't they? Well, Pengelly wasn't offside and he got the touch. It was a good save by Mooney. Straight at him though. Duckworth ends up on his backside. And now White wins the free kick and Pengelly can't believe it. Here's Christian Waters wide to Kazuya Ito. Waters once more. Mundy. Stefanuto. Good control from Stefanuto and takes Pengelly out of the game with that touch. Smith battling with McFarlane and then it's smashed clear by McHenry. Mooney's way out of his area but will follow that one in and pick the ball up. Now deliver it out wide to Kazuya Ito. Competitive pattern so far. Stefanuto does well to control that one and help it inside to Smith. Smith plays it all through to Pizarros. Lovely control by Pizarros. Crestani. It was a good tackle by Crestani and then gave a few choice words to Costa Pizarros. I don't think he was looking for a foul. I think he just lost his footing, but won't worry Cam Crestani. He delivers him a spray regardless. Sorry, here is Matt Mundy, the captain. Alex Smith is going to have to go all the way back. Going backwards to go forwards, Olympic now. Zari wide to Lofthouse. Been quiet tonight, Lofthouse, but here's an opportunity now for him to deliver a ball into a dangerous area. It's going to go right into the head of Dan McHenry, who heads it out to Smith, and Smith gets caught ball watching a little, hoping Stefanuto was going to be there, and then had to be Christian Waters who helped that ball out for a Western Pride throw and scattered Magpies and supporters alike down from those umbrellas down to our left. Here's McFarlane. Olympic have had more of the ball in this second half but haven't done enough with it really. Cause Western Pride too many problems. They lead by Joe Duckworth, goal to nil. And as things stand, they will be returning to the grand final for the second time in as many years. The second time of asking. Good from Josh Wilson, an opportunity now for Bird. Bird has a bit of space, there's only one in the area, and that is Andrew Pengelly. Duckworth's got there now. Rigby, it's a poor touch from Rigby, and that allows Steve White to break through, but he gives the ball away cheaply. Diaz, and now Cam Crestani gets on the back of Shelford Diaz, and we're going to have a little bit of a push and a shove, and that was all Cam Crestani, and Crestani's going to get a yellow card, as you'd expect. That's his 9th yellow card of the season, can you believe, from Cam Crestani? Well, maybe you can. He's a combative character, Cam Crestani, and went for a little bit of a ride on the back of Shelford Diaz in that occasion. Ooh, a little bit sloppy all of a sudden. Right, helps that ball in over the top. It's bouncing around. Shelford Diaz is there. Held back inside for Waters, who's there. Is there a handball? No, says referee Crow. I think that's a fair call. It was rather hammered into Shelford Diaz. Stefanuto heads it back inside. Pizarros. Diaz really clatters Dan McHenry and concedes the free kick in the process. Frustration for Big Shelford Diaz, I think. It's been 14 games since he found the back of the net last for Olympic. Just for 5 goals from him. Which is a return he'd be disappointed with, I think, but he's certainly done more than his fair share of work up front for Olympic this season. Stefanuto getting some advice from the pit. Great atmosphere here at Goodwin Park. Nanette and Rigby both challenging Alex Smith. But it's another Olympic throw-in. Stefanuto goes back to Steve White, to Matt Mundy, apologies. Mooney being challenged by Duckworth. And that was just enough. The wind is starting to have another effect here. It's still blowing. It's gusting a little bit as well. You'll be able to hear it on the sound effects mic, I'm sure. Opportunity perhaps to get this ball into a dangerous area. Stefanuto with a deft little header back. It was a good run in the end by Mitchell Bird. Never really had the ball under control though. He was rather just bulldozing his way through Olympic defenders, which isn't the word you'd normally associate with Mitchell Bird. Flicked on brilliantly by Smith to Shelford Dias, but it's hacked clear. Smith getting involved in the link-up play, the former Oakley Cannon and Sydney Olympic player, played 41 games for Wellington, although things didn't quite go to plan in New Zealand. Played nearly 2,500 minutes for just one goal in the A-League. Since then, popped up in Dallas with FC Dallas and DFW Tornadoes. A few other places as well, as that ball's helped in by Mundy. Only half cleared. Jez Lofthouse in possession. It's a bit of a nothing pass inside from Lofthouse, and it's looped clear onto the head of Duckworth, and Duckworth just gets anything onto the ball to help it upfield, but Western Pride hanging on a little bit defensively. They do have the upper hand though, and that's all they need to do for the remaining few minutes in this game. Western Pride, the reigning champions, leading by a goal to nil. Joe Duckworth scoring it in the 35th minute of the game. Is there a handball there? There was a handball there. It was Will McFarlane, I think, who's been penalised. Needed to be made, that handball. If it was deliberate, Zelfi Nazari was through on goal. What an opportunity this is now. While we're waiting for this free kick, just a reminder to follow Football Queensland on social media at Football QLD for all the behind the scenes action. At Football Queensland for Facebook and YouTube. Alex Smith just gives himself a little shimmy of the shoulders. I think he fancies going direct from this one. Tough for Justin Weir because Waters is there to follow up. As is Basaras. It is straight through towards goal. Smith holds his head in his hands. Approaching 20 minutes to go in this one, and as things stand, Olympic will not be contesting the grand final. It'll be Western Pride for the second consecutive year. Finished third on the ladder for the second year in a row. That's their highest ever finishing position in their short history. They were brought into the league in 2013. It's a good strong header there by McFarlane. Certainly no fouls, two players going for the ball together, and I don't think realistically Alex Smith was asking for a free kick from Jason Crowe. Lofthouse tried to do too much and had the ball picked off him by Adam Ndien. And now an opportunity perhaps for Jacob Minette to rampage forward. Minette being trapped by Stefanuto. Lovely ball inside though by Mitchell Bird. It was cut out though by Mundy. Olympic at 6s, at 7s at the back though. Players all over the place. After that run, once again Will McFarlane just cutting out the play forwards by Olympic, and he's been a rock at the back so far, but concedes a free kick there on Shelford Dias. Another opportunity to whip a ball in to the box, this time by Steve White. Just wonder how much Olympic are missing Kieran Sanders. He's suspended for this semi-final clash. It's the only real absentee for Olympic. Wonder whether he'd be able to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and conjure something? Can Olympic conjure something from this? Waters at the back post, heads it back across the face of goal. It's parried away. How did that not go in? It had to be a save from Justin Weir. Couldn't quite see who got the last touch in a red and white shirt. It was either Alex Smith or Shelford Dias. Lovely header back across the face of goal by Waters. You don't get much closer than that. Once again, it's whipped in. It's off the head of McFarlane upfield. Stefanuto's going to help it back inside. Psaros has space all of a sudden. Can't turn and face towards goal, but lays it off for Stefanuto. Stefanuto is challenged by Minette, and Minette will play the ball upfield. And what's going to happen now? Surely Mitchell Bird was offside. He gave up the fight anyway. And Zelfi Nazari plays the ball upfield to Kazuya Ito. Psaros goes upfield, but now that's picked off by Jesse Rigby. Another turnover from Olympic in the midfield, but Zelfi Nazari does well to pick that ball up. And now Costa Psaros switches play over to the far side, but it's going to hold up in the wind. And then Dean gets his head onto that and needed a diving stop from Christian Waters, whose header back across the face of goal so nearly led to the equaliser just a few moments ago. I think we're about to see our second substitution of the afternoon from Western Pride. No movement on the Olympic bench as of yet, although Ben Khan is delivering some instructions. We're going to see a substitution, and I think it's the old tactic of the person furthest possible from the dugout, Jacob Minette, who comes off. The 20-year-old's had a good game. I was critical of him last week in the defeat against Brisbane City. But it was his drive that led to Pride's second goal at Corporate Travel Management Stadium last week. He's been good tonight though, this afternoon rather. And he very, very slowly makes his way off the field. It's Neelan Brown who's been brought on to replace him. 23-year-old, been at the Pride since 2015. White, who was brought to ground there for a free kick. Olympic take it quickly and backwards. A lot of space suddenly for Smith. Played it behind Psaros, but Psaros picks up the ball well, challenged by both McHenry and Pengelin. It was McHenry who made the most vital of touches, and it came off Costa Psaros last, so Psaros, who's bounced around a few clubs in his National Premier League Queensland career, helps that out, but a little bit of a lack of composure from Olympic, and Stefanuto will take the throw to Mundy, inside to White, who has a lot of space. Nazari was waiting. Well, that was a lunge by Neelan Brown, not up to speed yet. Advantage being played. Here's Costa Psaros. It's cut out by McHenry. Still there for Olympics and Stefanuto. Stefanuto out to Smith. That's brilliant. That is a brilliant goal. Stefanuto, Alex Smith, 1-1 Olympic. Get back on level terms. It had been coming. Olympic was starting to turn the screws and pile on the pressure. It was a glorious touch from Smith to take it away from his marker. And we're back on level terms here at Goodwin Park, and the crowd has burst into life down beneath us in the main grandstand. It was an eruption of noise, and we can still feel it in our feet up here. That's sloppy from the restart for the Western Pride, and Olympic are going to come again. Here's Matt Mundy. Diaz goes to deck. Good interception by McFarlane. Now Andrew Pingelli's going to go down, and Steve White is going to receive a yellow card. Apologies, it was Duckworth who went down. Steve White with the caution. The momentum has turned. Really was a glorious ball in from Stefanuto. He's looked most likely. He's the best player for Olympic in the first half, for my money. Particularly towards the end, really driving at the Western Pride defence and playing in that advanced position there. Played a delightful ball inside to Smith, and you don't need to give Smith too many chances like that, and it was such a good touch to give himself the space. Really high quality finish as well to boot. And Waters helps that one out with Andrew Pengelly in close attendance. Great atmosphere here at Goodwin Park. And it's game on. Ooh, that was off the head of Duckworth. I don't think he was expecting it. Bird was there, and then Duckworth concedes the free kick. Eventually gets things going once more. Mundy. Lofthouse has changed wings to match up against Dan McHenry, but McHenry has been impressive for the last few years for Western Pride and does well there. A little bit of miscommunication there between Pengelly and Duckworth. Pride do retain possession though. That's come off Lofthouse last. It'll be a Western Pride throw. What will the response be from the reigning champions? Henry with the long throw. Oh, it's fallen perhaps for Duckworth. Duckworth goes to deck. Neelan Brown can't quite get hold of that, and I couldn't quite reach the ball. It's careered just to our right up here. It's neatly flicked on by Duckworth. It's going to fall for Duckworth again, is it? No, it's Brickland from Foster Pizarros, and now that's hooked up field by White towards Smith. Smith has Diaz in attendance, and Diaz just needed to get that ball under control, and he really made a meal out of it. Lofthouse goes round the corner on Neelan Brown and back inside to Diaz. Diaz inside to Smith. Smith will go one further over to Pizarros, will he? No, it was a good tackle in the end. Wonderful football from Olympic. Great work on this near side eventually by Shelford Diaz and Jez Lofthouse. And if Smith had just been able to help that on to Costa Pizarros, Olympic may well have taken the lead. Corner put right onto the top, and it was Jez Lofthouse who got his head onto it. And then Jesse Rigby makes a real hash of that. It'll be another corner. Again, I'm not quite sure Lofthouse knew that the ball was going to land on his head. And that's all that happened. He didn't really head the ball. It was more the ball attacked him. Nevertheless, it will be another opportunity for Olympic from this near sideline this time. It's 1-1. Alex Smith cancelling out Joe Duckworth's earlier strike for the Western Pride. Oh, it's helped on, is it off the line? But Jesse Rigby, it's still there. Crestani gets there, and now it's a good header and a free kick given for a foul on Justin Weir. Crestani, that was magnificent, and I think it was the substitute, Neelan Brown, actually, who headed it off the line. Goodness me. Olympic were that close to taking the lead in this semi-final. It's a poor clearance by Weir, but Western Pride do come up with it. Here's Endine. Tried to thread it through to Bird, but was unable to do so. Goes back to Wilson. Ito goes down under the challenge of Rigby. Free kick again to Olympic. Still no substitutes for Olympic. Here's Lofthouse. They have regained control of this game, but that's helped upfield by McHenry, and now an opportunity for Mitchell Bird to cause some problems for Kristen Waters. Lovely ball, all the space and time in the world for Neelan Brown, but he's really made a mess of that. just needed to show some composure, but Lofthouse, no, he hasn't given the ball away. That's excellent work. And then Brown, as you might expect, was so angry with himself, he managed to concede a foul on Jez Lofthouse and really should have done better. What an opportunity for Western Pride. A couple of players on their haunches. Mitchell Bird and Adam Endean, I think it was, just hands on their knees as Steve White also just stretches out his calves. They're going to have to continue battling, because unless Olympic can score again, or Western Pride of course, we will have 30 minutes of extra time. Great strength from Shelford Deers. Threads it through to Smith, and Smith was a little bit too clever for his own good there. Certainly Jez Lofthouse wasn't expecting Smith to be able to do anything with that ball. Just a flick with the outside of the boot. Great atmosphere here. I've mentioned it a couple of times. This is excellent. They expected about 1,000 people here today, and certainly what they've got. That's a great tackle. A foul's been given. I'm not sure about that. It looked like Alex Smith got the ball there on Cam Crestani. Rigby goes down, flew theatrically through the air, but I still think there was a touch from Steve White, who has already been booked. Crestani will take the free kick 20 yards further on from where he fought initially. There's a handball by Lofthouse, but it's not given by Jason Crowe, and Western Pride come away with it anyway. Here's Josh Wilson, the substitute. Wilson plays the ball inside to Bird. Shot comes in anyway. It was straight at Nick Mooney, and he gratefully gathers. Mooney gets that ball upfield. Headed clear by Crestani. Rigby goes to deck, and it's mopped up by Smith. BNMD not able to claim possession there. It's Costa Psaros. Psaros whips a wicked ball in. Oh, it's a horrible error by Weir. Right through his hands. Oh, what drama here at Goodwin Park. Stefanuto will give this everything he's got and put it right into the mixer. Crestani gets there after it sails over the head of Waters, and now Mundy back to Stefanuto. Stefanuto has time to pick his spot. It is towards Waters. Crestani goes down. And Crestani lashed out a little bit there at Christian Waters. Just from a self-preservation perspective, it's not something that I would advise doing, but Crestani, who has also been booked, will have to be careful of doing things too obviously like that in front of our Total Tools referee Jason Crowe. I'm not quite sure it was much of a flick out, but certainly an action by Crestani. Smith wins the free kick off Will McFarlane. McFarlane's been excellent so far, and we're going to see our first substitution from Olympic, and Costa Psaros goes on, and it is that man, Danny Byrne. Much loved figure here, the 35-year-old Everton fan. Hooked into a dangerous area. Waters is there again. There's a man who gave away the free kick, McFarlane, who got his head to it. Smith does well, wanted a handball. In the end, helps it out himself for a goal kick. Jason Crowe unmoved. Stefanuto venting his frustration at the assistant down in front of us. Western Pride really struggling to clear their lines at the moment. Just need to get their foot on the ball and get the ball upfield, just as Stefanuto does towards Alex Smith. Another good piece of control from Smith. Tried to play in Byrne, but played in behind the Olympic stalwart. Here's another Olympic stalwart in Kazuya Ito. Smith goes to ground. Crestani concedes the foul. It looked a good decision from here by Jason Crowe, and what an opportunity this might be. And I have a feeling that Alex Smith is going to try and grab his second here. Telling everyone else to get out the way. Olympic have put 4 players on this near side of the penalty area, including Christian Waters, Matt Mundy and Shelford Diaz, as well as Jez Lofthouse. They've spread out a little bit, as have Western Pride, to man up with them. Prestani goes back. That's a fantastic free kick by Alex Smith. Absolutely brilliant strike from the former Wellington Phoenix player. And Olympic have come from behind here. And Alex Smith has earned himself a yellow card for reasons unknown. Over celebrating perhaps, I'm not sure, I didn't quite see why that would have been the case, but it's his 9th goal in just 12 games for Olympic. Alex Smith, what a mid-season signing he's been. Comparable, of course, to that of Marek Madley for Lions. What will Western Pride do now? They led for a long period of this game, and with just 5 minutes of normal time remaining, their championship defence is fast evaporating. Here is the 2-goal man, Alex Smith. Just gets past one, and then that was a strong challenge. Smith goes down holding his ankle. Shelford Diaz picks up possession for Olympic. Play on. Smith still down. Opportunity bats for Zelfi Nazari. Nazari trickles one through. Danny Byrne actually blocked that one himself. And it's out for a corner, and Alex Smith is still down and in pain just in front of us, and we've seen a yellow card being shown to Dan McHenry for his part in that challenge. By part, I mean the bit where he slid in and took Alex Smith's shin. Alex Smith looks to be in all sorts of trouble here. It might be just playing for time, but he's beating the ground. He's in a lot of pain. Well, this is not good news for Olympic at all. Olympic are set up for the corner, just a few players receiving some last minute instructions from Ben Khan. And some players just getting some water as well. This will see time added on, and Alex Smith is actually in a world of hurt here. Amongst all that, Western Pride have made a substitution. Alex Parsons, I think, has come on. Trying to work out who he's replaced. Andrew Pengelly, who's gone off. I'm not quite sure if Alex Smith's going to be able to continue here. Stefanuto is in attendance, as well as for physio. Yeah, we are going to see a substitution. Alex Smith can't continue, so the 2-goal hero for Olympic. Called that delightful free kick in. Prestani, I think, was alert to it. He dropped back to try and get in, but that's a sad sight to see the 2-goal man be carried off, and Ben Khan will be sweating on his fitness for the final, I'm sure. Philippe Sam has come on in his place. Former Surfers Paradise Apollo star. I think we'll get things moving. Taking the ball into the corner, my least favourite part of the game. Kazuya Ito almost escaped from a blind alley there, and Olympic still have possession. It's lofted in towards Shelford Diaz. Hooked clear. Hooked back though, despite the attentions of Parsons, and that was a bit sloppy from Rigby. Lofthouse comes out of a blind alley. That's brilliant from Lofthouse. Is Lofthouse going to have a drive? He might well, you know. No, he goes wide to Byrne instead. Byrne cuts back. Is Byrne going to have a crack? It was a weak effort, comfortably gathered by Weir. And Weir launches this one upfield. Time is of the essence for Western Pride now. Oh, nipping in there is Elfin Nazari. Nazari, 1-on-3 players there. Still manages to get a shot away, but it's blocked. Now Lofthouse once more. It's opening up. He likes the open spaces, does Lofthouse. Shelford Diaz goes to deck of his own volition. Wins a free kick in the end. There's a little bit of push and shove now. This might spark in something here. There's a few players running to get involved. Last thing Ben Carnell want is now to see his players get overexcited. It's a little bit further out from where Alex Smith scored that wonderful free kick that gave Olympic the lead. He's still receiving treatment down to our left, just in the shadow of the grandstand now as it extends across the field. Elfin Nazari won this one. I think he fancies it as well, although Steve White's there. Nazari! Oh, almost again! It couldn't have been much closer. Inside of the post. And crossbar a little bit involved as well. I think if it hadn't had the crossbar, I think we'd have been talking about a goal there. Just helped it on its way out, and it'll be Stefanuto who takes the throw in now. Puts it into Jez Lofthouse, and Lofthouse concedes the throw in. Time really running out now. But as things stand, it is Olympic who will be progressing to the grand final, where they will play either Lions or Moreton Bay United. That game kicking off at 7 o'clock at Richland. You'll be able to watch the live stream for that one with Rafe Griffin. If once this game has reached its conclusion, you still have a hunger for some semi-final football, you'll be able to catch for women. And Darren Lutton, Lions against National Training Centre and the Raw, the NTC Raw side looking to upset Lions at the Lion Richlands. Darren Lutton is there. That game is underway. It's another throw-in that came off the corner flag, and Western Pride are bogged down in that bottom corner now. They need to escape. It's flicked on a little bit by Rigby, but only as far as White, who just launched it rather hopefully towards Justin Weir's goal. He'll take the goal kick quickly to McFarlane, who's been impressive in what may well end up being a defeated side today. We'll keep our eyes on Jason Crowe, who just has a quick glance at his watch. Dean does well there, but what's to say, Elfin Nazari does better. Lofthouse has space to run into now. Plays an early ball to Steve White, and Steve White was at full pace already, unfortunately. He didn't have another gear in the latter stages of this game. Prestani launches that one forward. Philippe Lassam with his first touch. Stefanuto with one of many timely touches. That one gets launched upfield. So this ball won't come back quite as quickly. Henry with the long throw. Justin Waters, the immovable object that Alex Parsons came up against there. Prestani and Rigby combining, but Diaz does well, and now White. Almost for Danny Byrne. Danny Byrne still in with a chance here against Wilson. Wilson wins the free kick for that sliding effort from Byrne. Rigby gets shown a yellow card, presumably for his protestations. Western Pride captain. Last time these two sides played here, get my facts straight. There's 7 yellow cards to Olympic and 5 to Western Pride. It was a rather bad-tempered game, but Olympic won by 1-0. Lofthouse hooks that ball clear. No final whistle yet. That's not great from McFarlane, asking a lot of Weir, but Weir does really well, and McFarlane hooks it upfield to Lofthouse. Lofthouse makes a meal of it. Stefanuto goes down. Stefanuto gets up and has a bit of a word with Alex Parsons. It was an untidy challenge. Stefanuto's more than allowed to feel slightly aggrieved at that bit of treatment. Another look at his watch from Jason Crowe. White helps it in. It's going to be comfortably gathered by Weir. And that is full time. Olympic progress to their 3rd grand final in the National Premier League's Queensland history. They won in 2013. They came 2nd in 2014. What will be the result next time around as the kids run onto the field to celebrate with their side? Disappointment for Western Pride, who led early through a Joe Duckworth goal. Olympic managed to get on top of the game in the second half though, and they huffed and puffed, and eventually Alex Smith managed to break down the Western Pride defence. First with a lovely touch after Shane Stefanuto's glorious long pass, and then with an absolute crack of a free kick that handed Olympic what ended up probably being a deserved win. It was a really, really good game. Alex Smith eventually left the field with an ankle injury. He's limping across the field now. I'm hoping from Olympic's perspective that it was just a knock. You want to see the best players playing in the grand finals, and Olympic, who did finish 2nd on the ladder, have taken their place in that grand final, where they will meet either Lions or Moreton Bay United. The decider of that game will take place from 7 p.m. at Lion Richlands, so you'll have to make sure you join Rafe for that one at www.footballqueensland.com.au/live. Football's still happening elsewhere around the state though. In fact, at the Lion Richlands, Darren Lutton is calling the Lions against the Raw NTC match for the women, so make sure you check that one out to see who will take on the Gap in their grand final for the women. It's the Olympic players get the adulation from their supporters. It's been a fantastic crowd here. Olympic had to work pretty hard for that one, but they ended up coming out on top in what was a really exciting game. A fantastic way to start our National Premier League's Queensland semi-finals action this weekend. All the details on the grand final, of which Olympic will be a part of. You have to check out the Football Queensland website and social media accounts at Football QLD for Instagram and Twitter, Football Queensland for Facebook and YouTube. That's all from me, Simon Smale. It's been a real pleasure to bring you this game. Disappointment and commiserations to Western Pride, who finished in 3rd spot, couldn't complete another fairy tale finish to the grand final. It's their 3rd game on the bounce that they lost. They just lost form at the worst possible time, Reg Devani's men, but another good strong season from this young side. They'll be back next year. Olympic will of course be back next week. Don't forget, 7 o'clock for Lions versus Moreton Bay United in the 2nd semi-final. Join Rafe Griffin for that one. It's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And we'll join you next week for the grand finals. Simon Smale bringing you all the action on a double take productions for Football Queensland. Good night from me. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and enjoy the 2nd semi-final with Rafe Griffin.